Solving the interbreeding. To solve this problem of the Neanderthal interbreeding, and that of the earlier Denisovans interbreeding, two groups of out-of-Africans should need to stay isolated, with one interbreeding exclusively with Denisovan and one interbreeding later and exclusively with Neanderthal, this before proceeding to the Americas and isolate around the Beringia Land Bridge for 10,000 of years, undergo an unedited fastened evolution where they would back-mutate. They would go first to South America, and form tribes in the Amazon forest and stay in place and isolated in the Amazon forest forever. Some of South America would mutate and form the population X, and most or all of them would carry ancestral marker PV92, and migrate into the Austronesian expansion in the direction of Africa. Even if this was to be orchestrated, it still would be impossible to control, and how would this number of African hunter-gatherers, Neanderthals and Denisovans survive trapped in permafrost for thousands of years? Let alone how would they reproduce and raise children constantly? Consensus does not support this possibility, but even if they had traveled from Africa to America by sea, proposed and supported by Neanderthal, this would have required total preparation, a fleet of seaworthy ships, a direction and/or knowledge of currents, equipment for and guaranteed food provision, as well as some knowledge and at least tribal or near to advanced navigation based on stars, constellations, etc. Further, this would be the simplest part, that we have origin for existence support, but as part of a long-standing culture and from the Americas to the rest of the world, fully prepared and equipped, with near-perfect use of the currents and gyres. The totally improbable part would be the divergence or even more the multiple directed back mutation. Some other groups would turn back to North America and some of those should even turn back into Asia. All this including the sped-up multiple backwards mutations should need to happen in less than 25,000 years, and the peopling of both the Americas in less than 16,000 years. This despite of the Isthmus of Panama, historically known as the Isthmus of Darien. Consensus needs the Beringia Land Bridge standstill. Consensus believes the standstill to have occurred between 25,000 and 16,000 years ago, with the isolation lasting for a period of up to 10,000 years. This isolation should have allowed for, and have completed a genetic divergence from East Asian populations to Amerinds populations, which is a key aspect of the theory. We of origin for existence claim that what consensus calls a genetic divergence in fact should have been a multiple back mutations, which are obviously extremely more improbable than a random genetic divergence, but this is for later. So the whole consensus hypothesis is trapped in a demanded sequence of narrowly defined extremely improbable events, this already on their own, and also in time and in space, and this more than once or even in more than one layer. Holding on to it at this point is irresponsible, and is the reason geneticist David Reich and others claim it has become improbable, and needs to be rewritten from scratch. Neanderthal interbreeding and standstill are essential parts of consensus. If whatever part of this Beringia Land Bridge standstill would be proven wrong or improbable, the whole out of Africa hypothesis, as well as the whole consensus and actual consensus human history would collapse together. This would definitively prove that what the ancestral markers and archaeological evidence prove us all along, and that is out of the Americas, and the Amerindians being the ancestors of all humans. Independent if it is out of Africa or out of America, genetically it is proven that A. South America populated first. This means before North America. And B. That the Amazon Amerinds tribes existed and stayed isolated from each other, and from all other Amerinds right from the beginning. Both again are totally improbable in the consensus human history. That includes out of Africa, Neanderthal interbreeding and standstill, and can only and easily be explained if all other Amerinds rose from the Amazon Amerinds tribes, which is exactly what PV92 and all ancestral markers prove us all along. Easily explained when consulting the ancestral markers. All this would be easily explained if the ancestral markers were taken into account, and the original modern humans already existed over 2 million years ago, and that is exactly what we of origin for existence suggest and claim all along, as well as what all ancestral markers prove all the time. Especially the ancestral markers, but also certain human artifacts like certain detected landscape forming and terraforming demand a long existence of millions of years. The formation of ADE soils and mounds in the Amazon forest and outside of it could be considered to be amongst these formations. Especially the ancestral markers, but also certain human artifacts prove all humans are out of America. Further, the Austronesian expansions and Atlantic expansions and routes explain the population of the world involving all archaics, even with the ones that did not walk upright, but with special interest to focus on starting out with Homo erectus 2 million years ago.